Aloha. My name is Linda Lambrecht. I was born on Oahu in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I have 2 brothers who are deaf and 3 sisters who can hear. All of them can sign, including my parents, who use home signs. I teach at Kapiolani Community College. I teach American Sign Language, and I've been teaching ASL for 25 years. I also remember that I would ask my sister to make calls for me to my friends. She would always tell me to wait because she was busy, and I wanted to make arrangements with my friends maybe to go swimming or to go out to a movie, and she was always complaining about having to do that for me. That was frustrating when I was 14 and 15 years old. So I'd have to write letters to my friends, wait for them to write a letter back so we could agree on a place to meet or go shopping or see a movie. Oh, my sister did not enjoy helping me out that way. She was always complaining. I remember one time I was going to go on a date with a hearing guy. I was suggested that I do that, and I thought, well, I'd go out with guys who were deaf. But I thought it might be fun to maybe try going out on a date with a guy who could hear. So he came to pick me up, and I found out he wasn't deaf, and he found out that I was deaf, and we started to write back and forth. But I'll tell you, it didn't take much time at all before I realized he wasn't interested, and most hearing guys weren't as interested in going out with me at all. Now, when I was in school, until I was 16, now imagine 16, I had to read lips, and we weren't allowed to sign. When I finally got into high school, there was a deaf teacher there. Oh, and he signed so beautifully. All the teachers I had were people who could hear. And I thought, how did this teacher get there? And how did he do what he did? I loved going to class. I was going to class religiously. I learned everything about him. He talked about the fact that he was from Texas and he'd gone to Gallaudet University. And I thought, oh, I'd love to be like him, but, you know, it was only men who went to college, not women. But he told me, you're very bright. You can write. And he says, and you can do math, right? And I said, yes, I can do math very well. He said, then you can go to college. I said, but why would I go to college? He told me that I should go to college to become a teacher. I thought about becoming a teacher. I thought, well, who would I teach? He then began to tell me that I should come back to Hawaii to teach at the School for the Deaf in Hawaii because deaf kids needed a deaf role model. I had never thought about that. It was important that deaf children had a deaf role model so they could learn things that they could do. So through my upper teen years, when I was 16, 17, 18, that was my goal, to teach. I learned that it was absolutely crucial that I learned English. It's unfortunate that my siblings and my family didn't encourage me to read and write better. I was more interested when looking at books at the pictures or numbers. Now, I loved numbers. I was excellent at mathematics, geometry, algebra. Oh, I loved anything having to do with numbers because it was visual. But English, all those words just confounded me, and I was so behind in terms of vocabulary. Oh, I struggled so when I was 15 to 16 years old trying to write. I was constantly asking people to help, always asking my sisters to give me a hand. I wished that before, when I was maybe younger, at 10 or 11, that I learned how to read and write better. Now I think about how things might be different if I could actually read and write even better. That would be even easier for me to get along with people who could hear. Sometimes that thought occurs. I just wish that I really was much better with my English. Now, I remember that when I was young, I wanted to be someone who could hear. I wanted to be able to use the telephone, and I wanted to be in plays and dance and do hula and all those things that hearing kids could do. But I was deaf, and I'll tell you, to be honest with you, sometimes I just wasn't very happy. I wanted to kill myself or have an operation that could make me hear. That's when I was young, but now I have a total change of heart. I like who I am. I'm happy. As a deaf person, I'm married, I have 3 children, I'm a teacher, I've been teaching sign language for many years. I'm in various situations where I meet hearing people and teach them about deaf culture and about my language, and we share experiences. It's very important that they have a deaf role model. They see that deaf and hearing people have a chance to exchange ideas and information. So it doesn't matter if you can hear or you're deaf. It's important to share with each other information, to share about your culture and language, so that there becomes a connection, that you become connected.